So I'll handle that portion of the meeting, and then we will kind of move on to normal business. First, I do want to say we do have two new Plan Commission members here with us today. Jay Stengel and Philip Marshall are our two new alternates. Welcome to the Plan Commission. Jay, you have anything to tell us about yourself?
Moved to Oshkosh in 1992, attend UWO, met my wife there. We decided to settle down, buy a house here. Been here ever since.
Philip, anything to add?
Lived in Oshkosh since 1993. I work for the Oshkosh Area School District. I'm the principal at Webster Stanley Middle School, and just very interested in the city and very happy to be here.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So we are going to start with election of officers. I guess I should call the roll first. Prop.
Here.
Kulabali. He's muted. Kulabali.
Here.
Davey.
Sorry, I was muted.
Oh, here.
Ford.
Here.
Groth.
Here.
Hintz.
Present.
Kiefer. Mitchell. Perry.
Here.
Stengel.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Okay. So now we'll move on to election of officers. I will call for nominations 3 times. So first call for nominations.
I'd like to nominate John Hintz.
Other nominations? Call for nominations a second time. Any additional? And, Miss Davy.
I nominate Kathy Propp.
And third and final call for nominations. Okay, as we do have 2 nominations, we will do a roll call vote. Please signify by saying which of the 2 individuals you would like to vote for. Kulabali,
Duffy.
Davy,
Kathy.
Ford,
Hintz?
Groth,
Hintz.
Hintz,
Myself.
Kiefer, not present, Mitchell,
Kathy Pop.
Perry,
Kathy Prop.
Prop,
Present.
Stengel,
Mr. Hintz.
Mr. Marshall.
Present.
4 to 4. So we'll go through the vote again. Any additional nominations? All right, we will take the roll again then. Kulabali,
Duffy.
Davy,
Propp.
Ford,
Hintz?
Groth,
Hintz.
Hintz,
Myself.
Kiefer, not present, Mitchell,
Kathy Pop.
Perry,
Kathy Prop.
Prop,
Present.
Stengel,
Hintz.
Mitchell, or Marshall, excuse me.
Prop.
All right, Kathy Prop is elected chair. I'm going to turn it over to Kathy then. It will be the same process for election of vice chair. Call for nominations 3 times.
I call for nominations for vice chair.
Nominate.
Was that, Justin, was that you?
Yep.
And it was Mr. Hintz?
Yep.
Second time?
Oh, second, wake up. Second call for nominations for vice chair. Last call for nominations for vice chair.
As we have only one, we can do a voice vote. So just all in favor.
Yes, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye. Happily.
Thank you. Mr. Hintz is approved as
Okay,
vice
maybe
chair.
I'd better move. Should I move?
You can, I have some stuff up here for you just to help
Okay.
with the agenda and the process, but we can help you through it.
Want your tablet, Kathy,
Want your tablet?
for your agenda?
Agenda? I've got an agenda.
You want your tablets with your, all your PC stuff?
I might. Okay, we've got election of officers. Those of you that have not attended a plan commission meeting, please silence your cell phone. The way this process works is the staff will give us a staff report on each item. The plan commission will ask technical questions, and then we will turn it over to the audience for audience input. So when it's your turn, you want to speak, come to the microphone and state your name and address and give us your views. And with that,
First thing would
we
be,
have a long consent.
first thing would be approval of minutes.
Oh, yes. We're jumping around here.
Sorry.
We have the minutes of the May 19 meeting. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, minutes approved. Officers elected. Consent agenda. This is something new to the Plan Commission. We've talked about it, but we've not done it before. I presume the staff will go over.
We will only present on all the items if you would like us to.
Okay.
So we would call for a motion and a second on consent and then open it up for discussion. And if anyone wants to remove anything from consent at that time, we can then remove it and vote on the remainder of consent.
Okay. But you will not present on this unless someone requests it.
Correct.
Okay. These are basically pro forma items, easements and things like that
I can give a very quick overview. So these
why don't you,
are,
explain why there is a
so these-
consent
yeah,
agenda?
So these are 8 easement requests from the Department of Public Works related to CIP projects for the 2020 construction season. I believe we had one on last month's agenda, and Jeff can flip through them quick, but these are all CIP related easement requests from the Department of Public Works.
Okay. All right, we have several on the consent agenda. We need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is that right?
Motion in a second.
I move to approve the consent agenda as stated, items A through H.
And accept the recommendations.
And accept the recommendations of the exquisite staff. Comes with this.
Second.
I'm sorry, this is a new process that we are
have my
wading
cheat
through rather carefully. All right, we have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda. Does anyone want to remove an item from the consent agenda for individual discussion? Hearing none, you will not present it, and so we will call the roll.
Call the roll. Hintz.
Aye.
Kiefer, not present. Mitchell. Perry.
Aye.
Stengel. Aye. Kulabali.
Aye.
Davy.
Aye.
Ford.
Aye.
Groth.
Aye.
Prop.
Aye.
Carries 9-0.
Okay, I think I'm gonna like the consent agenda. Item number 3 is the extraterritorial final plat, the Ormond Beach Heights First Edition in the town of Omro. Were there any site inspections? Okay. We will accept the staff report as part of the record, and now staff will give a summary.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Wildflower Landscapers LLC is requesting approval of a final plat containing 21 single-family lots and right-of-way dedication identified as Ormond Beach Heights First Edition in the town of Omro. The subject site is located approximately 2.75 miles west of Oshkosh city limits And the site is generally the last larger tract of land in the immediate area. Up on the site, I have a existing land use map of the area. I apologize, the land use is a little outdated. A lot of those smaller lots should be colored in with yellow with single-family development. A preliminary plat was approved for this subdivision by the city in 2008. I apologize, I have 2009 listed in the staff report, but in fact it is 2008. However, at that time, the financial crisis and slowdown in the housing market sidelined this development, and it's been vacant since. The subject site has a county zoning designation of suburban residential district, R2, which allows single-family uses by right, one house per lot. It does not allow two-family or multifamily units on individual lots. This is a closer aerial view of the site, showing its current development state, undeveloped, of course. The owner is proposing to subdivide this area consistent with the previous preliminary plat. And right here, the final plat's a little covered up by the photo. Can we move that, Mark? Perfect. On the left side is the preliminary plat that was approved by the city in 2008, and the final plat on the right side, which which is seeking approval today. The plats are pretty much identical, except for, yeah, Mark, if you go to outlot 1, yep. That outlot on the new proposed final plat is the only major change to the plat from the original preliminary plat in 2008. Otherwise, the roadway is the same, the lots are all the same size, that's the only difference. The proposed street right-of-way is proposed to be a 66-foot wide extension, which will extend Lakeland Drive from the north and then head south through the middle of the development and connect to Raider Court to complete a looped roadway. The city's comprehensive land use plan 2040 identifies this area appropriate for low-density residential development, and approval of this plat is consistent with the city's comp plan recommendation. The Department of Public Works reviewed the final plat and does not have any concerns with the parcel configuration or street layout. It's unlikely that this area would ever annex or attach into the city due to its distance and location, but all of the lots do meet minimum city standards as well as the right-of-way. With that, staff is recommending approval of the extraterritorial final plat for Ormond Beach Heights, first edition as proposed.
Okay, technical questions, Plan Commission? Mike?
Yeah, for the staff, because this is outside the city of Oshkosh, if we were to vote no on this, what would happen?
This would likely, as we've discussed in the past, we have limited authority. If we're saying it is inconsistent with the comp plan or inconsistent with the primary plat, as this is a final plat, really, the consistency comes down, is it the same as the primary plat?
Yep.
We would be, if we vote no, we'd be saying we believe it is inconsistent with that primary plat. They could make modifications to bring it back to be consistent with the primary plat before they go on to final county level approval. I believe they already have town approval. They need county approval. County waits until we've acted.
Okay, great, thank you.
Now, this is at the very edge of our 3-mile extraterritorial limit.
Any other technical questions? Anyone in the audience wishing to speak on this Ormond Beach Heights plat?
Kathy, I got a question as well.
Sure.
I'm just curious where the city or what authority or actions that the city takes to help to incorporate affordable housing in neighborhoods such as this. For example, on page 8 of the documents that provided, there was a map that showed the section north of 21. And I know that you said that, I think you said only single family developments are permitted here. I'm just curious, are there any actions or roles that the city can take to ensure that we don't just have isolated, wealthy, new development neighborhoods that service only families that can afford something that's $300,000 or completely void of any sort of affordable housing?
The city would not have authority, as this is not within the actual city limit for any zoning or that type of power. We slowly have platting extraterritorial powers out here to say, is it consistent from a platting requirement? That would be a town and county level issue.
It seems disappointing. I'm sure that's the reality of what it is, but I look at this as great. There's new development, wonderful. And then there's some language in there that is, standard for, we want to create another secluded kind of set-aside neighborhood for those of us that look like us and can afford things like us, and kind of goes against some of those concepts that we just talked about a couple weeks ago when we were talking about furthering fair housing goals and whatnot.
Okay, thanks, Justin. Any other comments? Any comments by other folks? I didn't know how to didn't know they were wanting to speak.
Amadou would be the only other one.
Okay,
that's not.
Mamadou, do you have anything to say?
No.
Technical question.
Okay, thank you. Now, can we call on the audience?
Yes, now we'll
Anyway.
open it to the public.
Okay. Now, the public has an opportunity to speak. If you wish to speak, come to the microphone where Jeff is and state your name. No one wishing to speak on this? Okay, thank you. Back to the commission. What's your pleasure, commission? We need our motion.
A motion to adopt the findings as stated in the staff report.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion by the commission? Okay, we'll call the roll.
Hintz,
Aye.
Mitchell,
Right?
Perry,
Aye.
Stengo. Aye. Kulabali,
Aye.
Davy,
Aye.
Ford,
Aye.
Groth,
Aye.
Prop.
Aye.
Carries 9-0.
The next item is item 4 and is a public hearing on a zone change from institutional with a university transition overlay to urban mixed use with a university transition overlay for property located at 471 High Avenue.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any site inspections? Okay, a few site inspections. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Hey, this is a zone change request from institutional with university transition overlay to urban mixed use overlay. Or, I'm sorry, urban mixed use with university transition overlay for property located at 471 High Avenue. The subject site is a portion or involves a portion of the Most Blessed Sacrament Parish, also known as St. Peter's Church, located on the south side of High Avenue between Jackson Street and Dawes Street. The subject site in particular is located at the northwesterly portion of the property, which contains the Newman Student House Building near the intersection of High Avenue and Dawes Street. The parish is in the works to divide a lot to split off the student house building from the remainder of the church property. And the applicant, Quest Property Group, is proposing to purchase the student housing building and repurpose it to apartments. The building is proposed to contain 8 units in total, with 2 one-bedroom units, 4 two-bedroom units, and 2 three-bedroom units. The surrounding area is a mix of two-family, single, and multifamily uses to the north, east, and west, and the remainder of the parish site to the south. The 2040 Comprehensive Plan recommends Center City land use for this subject property and surrounding area. Here's an aerial site of the property closer up, and I do have the zoning layers lightly colored over the tops. The proposed use to convert the student housing building to apartments is in conflict with the underlying institutional zone district. The existing or the institutional zone district prohibits multifamily and residential use or multifamily residential uses which is what prompted the zone change request. Now, staff took a look at the area. We have two options to consider. We could have, I don't have a pointer, but we could have extended the MR 36 from across the street over, or continue the urban mixed use zone district from the southwest and to the northeast. Both of those districts would have allowed the multifamily use by right. Staff took a look at it, and we came to the conclusion that the urban mixed use was a better fit, as it would continue one continuous zone district along the southeasterly side of Dawes Street. This zone change request is one of 3 steps required for the applicant's plan to repurpose the building to apartments. The applicant has submitted a certified survey map to divide the Newman student housing property from the remainder of the church property. The CSM has been conditionally approved, and it's pending approval of this action and a third action, which is approval of a setback variance from the Board of Zoning Appeals. The dimensional separation, I think I've got a slide of it. It's hard to see there. But the dimensional separation between the student housing building and recreational building to the southeast is not sufficient to meet the base zoning standards for setbacks. The applicant has submitted a variance request to the Board of Appeals to reduce the required 25-foot rear yard setback of the Newman House building from the new proposed lot line to 19.8 feet in distance. The Board of Zoning Appeals will consider this request, and city staff is recommending approval at its June 10th meeting. Staff is supportive of this zone change request. It's going to enable the reuse of a currently underutilized building. The building's, from what I could tell from the outside, is in very good shape, and will provide another housing option for people seeking to live closer to the downtown, or students wishing not to be so close to campus. So with that, staff is recommending approval. There's a look of the building. It's in very good state of condition right now. It looks like it has upgraded windows, and just a very nice looking building, and I think it would be a nice fit for that conversion. So yeah, staff is recommending approval of the zone change from institutional with the university transition overlay to the urban mixed use with university transition overlay for the property at 471 High Avenue as proposed, with one condition, that being that the Board of Zoning Appeals approval of the reduced setback request resulting from the proposed land division and certified survey map.
Okay, thank you. We need to accept the staff report as part of the record first. Now, technical questions. Mike?
Yeah, for staff, is this in the parking overlay, the downtown parking overlay? Or is it too far?
Yes, it is. Is it?
It is.
Thank you.
Okay.
And let me go back to the certified survey map. The parking portion that's shown on this map, that's still going to remain with the church property.
Okay.
But they have an easement in place, and that's where the residents at the apartment building will be able to park.
If you recall, our parking overlay district did not exempt out residential land uses from parking. They still needed to show evidence of parking within 1,000 feet.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Tom?
Is this the point where I can ask about either low income or disability accessible apartments?
And,
Okay.
well, actually, let's wait, because we'll need the applicant to answer.
The applicant is here.
Okay,
I've got a question here. So this is a scenario where the city has some leeway, they could request something in exchange for approving this shift, or no? Like sometimes you've said, well, we can use this as a bartering tool or this or that.
This is a straight zone change. We would not have that trade-off like we do with a plan development.
Okay. The context just was that you have a rental advisory committee, and I know you also have a rental inspector. Given that they're looking to do a change, is this an appropriate time for you to go in and make sure that there's the smoke alarms and carbon dioxide, monoxide detectors and whatnot?
We can ask the applicant. I don't know if they're intending to make interior changes or not. That's something we can find out when the applicant comes up.
It just, in general, it seems like maybe that's an appropriate thing to consider for the policies of the the position itself or the rules that the city inspector follows is that when they're looking to do a change, not even just a physical change, but something like this, that could potentially be another opportunity to go in and make sure that it's a living environment for individuals.
Mark, I believe this is the change of use, so it will go through inspections.
A change of use will have to be applied for with inspections. Whether they're physical changes intended, I don't have an answer. We can ask the applicant that part.
Okay,
So-
all right. Any other technical, Mike?
So, just what you just said, Mark, so they will be walking through this building then, which would address,
I don't
Questions,
want to speak
concerns?
specifically to what that requirement is from our inspections division. I do not know
Okay.
if that requires a detailed interior inspection or not.
okay, thanks.
Okay, any more questions? All right, we will open the public hearing and request, first of all, a statement from the applicant, if the applicant is here.
Good afternoon, Greg Cost with ActQuest Property Group. Happy to answer any questions that I can possibly answer for you here tonight.
Can you answer if there's any interior changes planned for the structure?
We're not planning for any. It currently is configured as was described.
Well, I have a question. The interior, if you're dividing it into these types of apartments,
They're already divided.
it's already divided?
It already has this layout. We're really not changing the use. So there will still be, students. It'll still be primarily student housing, given its location. We don't exclude non-students releasing it, but just given the location, we would expect it to be primarily student housing, as it has been while it's been the Newman Center. Formerly, it was used by the parish as housing for families prior to the Newman Center. That's my understanding. So, again, we won't be reconfiguring the interior.
Okay,
And I
but,
think there was a question regarding inspections. I guess I'm not sure what additional inspection the city will need to do, but typically the fire department does come through, and there's that annual inspection that the private sector does with, its fire protection folks, and then that report is given to the fire department, and then they do their periodic inspections as well. I don't know if that's really protocol here, but that's typically the way it's done.
Tom?
So once again, I'd really like to state that when we are considering larger multifamily units, or conversion to, or changing or anything like that, that we really need to look at what can be made or what can be done about devoting a certain percentage or certain amount of units to either the physically handicapped or those with lower income. We are grossly deficient in this city with those particular units, and we now have 12 more market rent units that are essentially coming on board that doesn't address the issue again. And so that's a concern to me, and I think that it's something that we need to address in future proceedings, because it really is not going to happen unless we force it to happen.
Okay,
Do
you have a
on that the impediments to fair housing report? I don't know if it's in this most recent one, but recent ones in recent years has indicated that access to acceptable housing that meets physical accessibility needs is the greatest barrier in the city. So it is something to look at. The other reality is that the owner is looking at those could be considerable costs that aren't necessarily able to be recouped through rent. And I should just note that the city's CDBG program, which puts that report out, can use funds for that sort of thing, and those can be issued at 0% interest deferred loans or other. And so I think there are avenues to achieve what you're talking about that don't impose excessive requirements financially onto an owner.
Could I ask the owner if there are there any accommodations for disability in these units? right now?
I don't know exactly. I mean, it was renovated in the early 1990s, so whatever was in place at that point in time, I assume was put in the buildings, but I don't know what accommodations. Certainly things have changed over, things
Okay.
change every year, but so I don't know what current standards there might be within the buildings.
Okay. Margie?
Have you been in this building?
I have.
Okay.
Any other, do you have anything? Go ahead.
About the parking issue. So on a Sunday morning, would there be enough parking spot for the residents yet to accommodate the worshippers? Is there a potential conflict somewhere?
Yeah, the parking lot is, all but 4 spots are reserved for the residents. The parish is reserved for just for maintenance and staff that might need to use that side of the lot, but
Okay, that'll be reserved. Okay.
Is that the current arrangement as well?
well, it's an easement that we're working with them on, right? I think part of it is the church is actually at the other end of the property where the major parking lot is at the kind of eastern end there, correct?
Okay, any more questions from folks off-site? Anyone else? Tom, we would need to keep calling on the public also.
Right, we have another kick of the can at this.
Yeah,
down the
this is
road.
still the public comment portion.
Yes, we do have a kick at the can. Okay, do you have anything else to say right now?
I do not.
Okay, you have an opportunity in a minute if there are other people that want to talk first. Okay, anyone else in the public wanting to speak on this 471 high zoning change? Third time, anyone else wishing to speak on the 471 high zoning change? Okay, public hearing is closed. And now, the applicant, if you have something else to say, you may. Or if you don't, that's fine.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Really nothing else to add. I think staff's done a great job of explaining, it's a current use. The only change here is the parish will no longer own it. It'll be put in the tax rolls and be privately owned.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, commission, we need a motion.
Motion to accept the findings and recommendations as stated in the staff report.
Second?
And a second. All right, discussion.
Is this the last time this comes before this board?
Yes, this is a straight zone change.
Any more discussion? Well, I guess I have some discussion. We keep bringing up the need for physical accommodation and lower income, but we can't force applicants to do this. And I don't know that there's a way we could. Staff would have to research ordinances which would require a certain percentage.
Yeah, staff's done some research into it. If it's an ordinance that the council wants, they could direct us to do further. When city dollars and things like that are leveraged in a project, it's very different than a private developer trying to do a project and what they're willing to provide, money into. Right now, we don't have a policy that says we should be doing that. If it's something this community felt we should draft a policy for, that is something that staff and council could look into.
So we have to get the ear of somebody on the council?
Yeah, if we want to do an ordinance of that nature, because you're moving outside of land use. Land use is, whether it's multifamily or multifamily with accommodations, your land use is the same. Your zoning district is the same. We're moving out of a land use based decision and analysis at that point from the Plan Commission and this purely land use policies that this body recommends on. Your land use is the same.
Mike?
And we do now have a portion at our city council meetings where we bring up issues like these that came up at commission. So just like I did last time with the solar panel issue, I will bring this up to the council so they're aware of it.
Okay, so really what you're saying is, Mark, is that this is a council matter and really out of the purview of the plan commission.
This is a
Because it's a policy.
policy decision that extends beyond just land use.
Right. Okay. Any other discussion?
A question for Mark. If there was a fire department issue, the individual mentioned that the fire department comes through, and if there's issues, they identify it and resolve it. But if there was an issue that was present and it wasn't resolved, is that something that you would have been aware of as they then seek to potentially put young children and families in the unit?
That is not something we would directly get involved in from a plan commission land use standpoint. That would be the inspections division in the fire department.
Do you think that's relevant information in making an informed decision here? In general?
If there are deficiencies, they would be required to correct them prior to occupancy being allowed.
So this change requires them to potentially not have occupants for a period of time?
If they do not receive occupancy permits from the inspections division upon the change of use, they'll have to work through those.
Got it. Thank you.
Okay, Margie?
So what I'm hearing you say is that the inspections department will definitely review the building because of this change?
They will have to apply for the change. I cannot say exactly what process our inspection division uses to make that determination, if they need to go into the building, exactly what it is.
Okay,
They do need to file for a change of use.
Okay. I suspect this is also in an area that they're doing the mandatory inspections every 5 years on the rolling. I don't know, Jeff, do you
I
remember?
mean, that's citywide.
On the rental registry.
I don't, yeah, right now I don't know if this is on the rental registry program or not, but that program is citywide.
I know. Okay, thank you.
John?
This falls within our university overlay area, am I correct with the?
Correct. Yes, this is in the UTO.
Yeah, I just want to be the one person who actually commends the owner of actually addressing something that we've all had issues with, which is the housing problems around the university. This is going to provide some good housing for students, the kind that they're not used to. And we all know, because we've all had our issues. We've talked about it over and over again about how the rentals look around the university. Well, this is going to be a nice one. So I just like to commend the owner on trying something different here. And like he said, bringing this was a religious building. Now it's coming onto the tax rolls because it's privately owned. So it's kind of a win-win as far as what we look at as a plan commission, especially in this area. I'm not saying the city as a whole, just this area.
Anybody else have comments? Okay, we'll call the roll.
Hintz,
Aye.
Mitchell,
Aye.
Perry,
Aye.
Stengel,
Aye.
Kulabali,
Aye.
Davy,
Aye.
Ford,
Aye.
Groth,
Aye.
Prop.
Aye.
Carries 9-0.
Okay, we're to the director's report. Any,
Brief director's report today. Just with some of the changes on Plan Commission, we do have, I believe, 2 open seats on the Extraterritorial Zoning Committee. That body is filled from members of this board. So we're just looking to see if anyone is interested in serving on the Extraterritorial Zoning Committee. Obviously, the mayor will need to make appointments. They will go to council and be approved, but generally for the Extraterritorial, we ask if people are interested from this body before she picks people.
That was just done.
Yes, you'll,
Yeah.
should be being reappointed. So just of the members, is there anyone interested in serving on that?
so am I still on
I
the,
believe you were, bear with
committee?
me, I will pull up.
One that meets like once a year.
If it meets
Yeah.
once a year.
A glamour appointment.
So this is specific to Town of Algoma, cooperative border agreement we have. That's the area that this board can be involved with. Yes, Kathy, you were reappointed.
so does that,
So you're still
are
on.
we needing how many seats now? 3?
I think we need 1. Mr. Wojtek's seat
Okay.
is vacant, obviously, because he's no longer here. Mr. Ford is on it. Mr. Kiefer is on it. Ms. Prop, Mr. Hintz, my understanding is you're being reappointed, so we have one open seat on that. We're just looking for anyone that is interested so we can relay that information to the mayor. Either of the virtual members interested in that?
What are the requirements?
So
What are the,
it's the same as this body, meets at the same time. Basically, it's the plan commission for when we have a project taking place within the extraterritorial agreed upon area we have with the town of Algoma. So it's basically a plan commission that is made up of some town of Algoma members, some of our plan commission members, that makes very similar recommendations to what this body does when we have a zone change in the extraterritorial area that includes us in the town of Algoma.
okay, you said the meeting happened at the same time?
Yep, they actually meet during this meeting when we have them, which I don't think we've had one in probably 2+ years.
Yes.
Pretty close to that.
So, any of the virtual members interested?
I'm gonna pass at this time.
Mamadou?
Yeah, I need to think about it.
Okay. So I've got 2 individuals, Margie and Jay. Okay, thank you. That's what I needed.
Okay, are we ready for adjournment now?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Okay, you can't
Aye.
leave. You cannot leave. We have 3 workshops.